9 out of 10 Crystal Skulls agree. Click like and subscribe to the Heavy Underground. Ooh, that one skull, let me tell you.
Traversing the continent in the fall of 2019, the progressive-minded heavy musical consortium known as Tool announced November 8th for a mind-bending visit to the nameless, faceless corporate arena in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The sudden announcement and subsequent release of the band's new album Fear Inoculum earlier this year only heightened the excitement for this new tour. Bearing a consistent lineup for almost a quarter century, Maynard James Keenan, Adam Jones, Danny Carey, and Justin Chancellor have set a modern standard for musical excellence through their dedication to instrumental precision, impassioned performances, and powerful live visuals. With 13 years since the band's previous release, 10,000 Days, this tour offers a refreshed concert experience for sold-out crowds across North America. Joined by British post-punk industrial icons Killing Joke, Tool are set to deliver a night of vast musical depth and enthralling audio-visual immersion. Formed in the Notting Hill district of London in 1979, Killing Joke have been delivering forward-thinking musical missives across post-punk, new wave, goth, industrial, and many points between as they begin their fifth decade of groundbreaking work. Influencing countless bands from their influential niche of the underground, Killing Joke joined obvious disciples Tool on the band's North American arena tour in support of Fear Inoculum, boasting a complete lineup featuring every inaugural member from the band's founding year in 1979, Jazz Coleman on vocals and keyboards, Geordie Walker on guitar, Youth on bass, and Paul Ferguson on drums. Killing Joke opened the night with a set of foundational music that has rich tendrils extending deep into the heavy underground. Opening their set with 1981's The Butcher, a dark pulse emanates from the stage as Killing Joke powers to life. Geordie's guitar scrapes viciously, and insidious interplay from Brother Coleman's vocals herald the onset of a powerful performance from the post-punk icons. Greeting the audience, Coleman joins brothers Paul Ferguson and Youth to launch into tomorrow's world with a sly rhythmic roll and discord-filled bass. Jazz's synthesizer, paired with Ferguson's primal percussive effect, only heightens the atmosphere. Lead and backing vocals add to the primitive vibe as brother Geordie Walker's guitar squalls emerge to add some static on this classic from the band's self-titled 1980 debut album. Ferguson's pushing percussion inaugurates the song 80s from the band's 1985 album Nighttime. Roaring guitars from Brother Walker rise from the tumult before the whole band pulls together for a pummeling conclusion to this 1985 track. Geordie's guitar screams out to usher in Seeing Red, a track from the band's 2003 self-titled album. Jazz Coleman's lackadaisical vocal belies the song's driving momentum before screaming to catch up midstream for a punishing effect in a vortex of post-punk passive aggression. Next, a quick and punchy pace marks another song from the band's eponymous 1980 debut album. A hypnotic rhythmic pulse from brothers Ferguson and Youth lead the way on Complications, also from the band's 1980 debut, as hard-edged guitars from Brother Walker cut through in hefty, distorted waves before a distended break slowly waits for 1980's SO36 to kick to a start. Geordie's bellicose guitar wails through the spacious arena ether, and a mechanical buoyancy pervades the song with industrial intent before a steadily dark descent slows the song's pace to a creeping depth. With a churning swing, 2003's Total Invasion gets underway, leaning into the band's long-running industrial edge. A hefty guitar crush and cavernous bass from Geordie Walker and the mononymously named Youth dominate the song as harsh vocalizations from Jazz punctuate the performance with destructive effect. Loose Cannon from the band's 2003 album bounds from the stage as Killing Joke begins their final triumvirate of songs. Static fills the arena as the band begins to cycle through the simmering bruiser. Skipping through the arena with a dense bounce, Loose Cannon bleeds electronic flourishes at the seams as the band's vast influence is put proudly on display. Next, an up-tempo pummel launches the legendary 1980s song The Weight, forward with staccato ascendancy. Brother Coleman's guitar scrapes into the sky as Ferguson's rhythmic heft pounds the earth. A pummeling, thumping machination of precision movement batters from the stage as Killing Joke lean into the song's forward aggression as the mesmerizing propulsion creates an otherworldly disassociation. Bringing the band's set to a close, the 1994 track Pandemonium from the album of the same name opens with an abrasive soundscape filling the arena. Exuding an exotic flair, Jazz's voice reverberates throughout the venue with a shamanic bent as Pandemonium's mantra-like chorus subconsciously prepares the crowd for Tool's upcoming musical meditation. An excellent end to an outstanding set. Opening the set with 1981's Butcher, Killing Joke pulsed to life with scraping guitar and twisted vocal work, unsettling the stage for a night of musical madness. Briefly greeting the audience, the band dives straight back into the maelstrom with the primitive discord of Tomorrow's World from the band's debut self-titled album in 1980. 1985's Nighttime album offers up the cresting pummel of 80s, and 2003's Seeing Red quickly follows in a flurry of post-punk hostility that now crosses 4 decades. A hard-edged punch and hypnotic rhythm accentuate the quick pace on Complications, while a rising pummel and distorted airs pour from the stage on SO36. Complications and SO36, both from 1980, fall in line before 2003's self-titled album is revisited with the 1-2 wallop of Total Invasion and Loose Cannon. Leaning into the industrial edge, Total Invasion from the band's second self-titled release from 2003 corrodes the atmosphere with punishing hostility, while electronic flourishes punctuate O3's Loose Cannon as the band projects out from the stage with a hefty bounce throughout the arena. Covered by a little band called Metallica in 1987 for their Garage Days Revisited EP, 1980's The Weight thumps from the stage with a bruising shuffle before 1994's Pandemonium finishes out the night for Killing Joke, emphatically concluding a riveting set from these dark post-punk masters. With the release of Fear Inoculum, their long-awaited new album earlier in the year, Tool is finally able to provide a ravenous North American audience an all-new stage show, laced throughout with, wait for it, brand new songs. This longtime, Los Angeles-based band has always walked its own path, and long winding album cycles have been the norm for almost 20 years. However, a 13-year wait for new music nearly, and in some cases certainly, did drive some of their fans insane. While the band continued to tour consistently over the years, the selection of festivals and short periodic runs of shows afforded them the ability to cycle songs in and out to keep performances fresh. However, an influx of new songs has afforded the band the opportunity to craft an all-new live experience to present their unique and masterful vision. With a sold-out Pittsburgh audience waiting in rapt attention, the darkened stage soon flows to vibrant life as these 4 unique minds meld together for a night of sonic virtuosity. As the intro of Fear Inoculum, the title track from the band's latest magnum opus, plays through the PA, the band's instruments rumble to life. A slow ebb opens the show as Fear Inoculum cycles to life under a deft percussive build from Brother Carey. Brother Chancellor's bass bubbles forth as Adam Jones's guitar rises in the background. The subtle tidal surge rises as Fear Inoculum gains in density, while the second half settles into an insistent stride. Shepherding the sonic flock, Justin's bass work winds the band through harrowing musical passages as Brother Jones rings a tortured solo from his fretboard before the band brings Fear Inoculum to a close. With just a couple cryptic words, the band's enigmatic frontman Maynard James Keenan confuses and enthralls the crowd before the band kicks into 1996 Anima. A persistent instrumental pummel from brothers Carey, Chancellor, and Jones adds extra kinetic force as the band overwhelms the arena's atmosphere with an impassioned performance. A flittering battery from Danny's drums deftly assails the crowd as Maynard slyly goads the audience with his unassuming, almost serene delivery, yearning and pleading as the song nears its end before the acerbic descent that follows to close out this classic track. Slowly forming from the ether, the band hits the crowd with a 1-2 punch from 2001's Lateralis. Engaging in atmospheric expansion, the master collective known as Tool begin to move the air as the rising barometer of Parable slowly forms from the stage. From the slow-moving, etheric passage of Parable, the band's deliberate build erupts into the visceral presence of Parabola. With the band firing on all cylinders, Parabola soars forward with brothers Jones's guitar heralding its arrival. Pulverizing moments and angelic vocal patience share the same rarefied air before cavernous sonic excavations arise in the song's waning moments to further deepen the crushing ether. A brief pause follows the close of Parabola as the band readies the crowd for another new song. Pneuma gets underway as the slow-burning intro flutters about the arena before Brother Justin's bass shifts into motion. An elemental force powers through this masterpiece of subtle heft. Like a collapsing star about to consume all, the restrained power of Pneuma seems ready to split apart at the seams with a jittery energy. Reflective moments only emphasize the overall heaviness as some sonic manipulation from Brother Jones arises from the fray before returning to his guitar for another lesson in restrained overstatement as he brings the song to the event horizon as the band collapses into Pneuma's overpowering strength. Next, a gentle intro prepares the crowd for a slightly extended run-through of the Lateralis classic Schism. With a sparse and despondent streak running throughout, Schism begins to weave its way through the pliant audience. Subtle diversions rise and fall within the live rendition of this classic track, taking the audience on a beautifully harrowing journey from the song's beginning through the stark realization of the song's end. Soon after Schism's final moment, a quick guitar churn rumbles from the stage and Jambi is off and running. Jambi, called from the band's 2006 opus 10,000 Days, offers up a halting momentum as Brother Chancellor's buoyant bass dominates through the song's hesitant progress. An off-kilter power roils from the stage before a brief stop intercedes as Brother Jones takes to his talk box for an almost human guitar solo. A particularly punchy vibe springs from the band as Jambi turns skyward before the closing moments intensify as the song reaches its end. Officially making its full debut the next night in Detroit, long-lost soundscape Merkaba receives its live rehearsal / proof of concept before an unsuspecting Pittsburgh audience. This ever so slightly truncated version of Merkaba precedes 2006 Vicarious in the night's set. Following the long-dormant live exploration of Merkaba, a steady sonic climb introduces Vicarious before roaring to life. A quickened pace adds emphasis as Toll roll through this 2006 song like a progressive metal steamroller. Shifting dynamics push and pull the crowd through the song's labyrinthine phases before increasingly evocative passages wind Vicarious back to a roaring force. Maynard's voice takes on added urgency as Brother Carey's drums circle in finality to end the song. The atmosphere slowly shifts as Descending reaches through the shadows. Having drifted into the band's set list the past year or so, an instrumental run-through of this new song has existed for a while, but the addition of Maynard's voice adds new and engrossing wisps into the aural haze. Brothers Carey, Chancellor, and Jones thicken in intensity as a quiet power simmers under the surface, ready to charge forth. A masterful solo from Brother Adam testifies from the stage before a creeping psychedelia seeps into the sonic fabric as Descending intensifies. A lofty guitar refrain accentuates the band's sonorous intent as the song nears its end. Closing the main set, 46-2 from the band's Anima album, pulses forth with increasing strength. With a rapturous crowd in tow, both band and audience unite with maximum effort. A particularly scalding solo from Brother Jones only amplifies the dynamic as the band tears through 46-2 with effortless fluidity and engaged passion as the main set draws to a close. Returning to the stage, Brother Carey steps up first. Delving into Carey's beautifully deranged mind, Fear Inoculum's Chocolate Chip Trip begins an engrossing descent into rhythmic madness. Murky, otherworldly, and incessantly delirious, Chocolate Chip Trip spills wholly from the mind and appendages of the drum master himself. With frenetic glee, an array of electronics, and a massive drum kit, this communication from the electric beyond moves effortlessly from utterly fucked to sublimely genius throughout its exciting duration. Emerging from the mindfuck that is Chocolate Chip Trip, another new song, Invincible, follows with the band initiating a purposeful climb. Circling with intent, Carey, Jones, and Chancellor cycle forward as an Invincible continues gaining strength. Sly sonic quicksand blends underneath as the song settles into solid form as Maynard's dulcet voice intones over top. A halting rhythmic pummel reinforces the band's intent before Brother Jones unfurls a disjointed solo squall. Deft drums and a Jones mantra riff mastery provide the perfect push to further pull the arena under the band's hypnotic sway. Slow and plodding churns settle in for a stay as the mesmerizing interplay enthralls the crowd before roaring back to life with intensified resolve. Once Invincible has pummeled to a close, Maynard briefly addresses the crowd and it orders security and venue staff to stand down and relax the night's stringent phone and camera restriction. Allowing the crowd to use their phones for the final song of the night, an overwhelming sea of smartphones rises into the air for the crowd-pleasing, show-closing classic Stinkfist. Lurching into the night, 1996's Stinkfist roars forward with Brother Maynard's pleading vocals and the band's incessant pulse ratcheting up intensity. Taking some liberties with the song's middle moments, an extended jam follows as Brother Jones guides the crowd through a dark and dissonant moment before returning to the plot at hand. As Stinkfist nears the absolute conclusion, another extended moment of unified discord erupts from the stage to herald the song's penultimate declarations. Ending with a powerful kick, Stinkfist brings the show to an impactful close with a declarative conclusion to the night's richly descriptive sonic journey. On a steady climb, Fear Inoculum starts the show. With a slow-burning ebb and flow, the band weaves a winding oral tale of virtuosic precision with their instruments. The dynamic rhythmic pulse of brothers Chancellor and Carey leading the way, tools cycle through the powerful Fear Inoculum with exacting certitude before giving over to the kinetic force of Anima. Emotional and instrumental heft combines on Anima to maximize the crowd's excitement early in the show. The sprawling pool of Parable slowly rises in strength before the powerful guitar of Adam Jones emerges from the ether to obliterate the crowd as Parable's sister track, Parabola, follows in due succession. With a vocal and instrumental eruption of celestial gravity, Parabola overwhelms the audience with its epic sweep. Another new song, Numa, pushes forward with Justin Chancellor's resonant bass work leading the charge on another crush of interstellar heaviness. Jittery energy and contemplative inflection reach a crescendo as the band engulfs the audience at the molecular level. 2001 Schism emerges from a discreet opening crawl to work a sublimely understated masterpiece into the night. A few additional twists and turns emerge in the live setting for a slightly extended jam on this Lateralis classic. Brother Jones's rumbling guitar work sets the scene for 2006's Zombie. Hesitant motion and a conversational talkbox excursion fully accentuate this song before the band leaves the crowd in palpable amazement as the long-dormant live experiment Merkaba makes a triumphant return. Reaching through the sonic ether, this classic live exposition interjects a moment of mind-bending musical experimentation into the set. With the return of Merkaba still sinking into the Pittsburgh crowd, the dynamic, progressive metal stalwarts deliver the shifting aural movement of 2006's Vicarious. Winding undercurrents traverse the duration of this 10,000 Days standout track, and a blistering drum performance from Danny Carey propels the song to its intensified end. Next, the band finally gives the formerly instrumental live tease Descending a proper performance. Maynard James Keenan's airy vocal delivery further deepens Descending's psychedelic nuance, while Adam Jones delivers a discerning and compelling guitar solo during this new song's penultimate moments. Closing the primary set with the classic 46 and 2, a maniacal crowd reacts with rapturous glee. Cresting intensity on this ardent performance is reciprocated by the crowd as band and fans revel in the heavy. With the crowd gasping for air, Tool leaves the stage with an intermission countdown clock beginning to count down from the video screen. With a brief intermission in the rearview, Tool's resident rhythmic mastermind Danny Carey returns to the stage. Like a fevered dream, Fear Inoculum's Chocolate Chip Trip pours into the arena in a glorious head trip of live drumming and electronic interference before the rest of our incomparable paragons of headspace heaviness rejoin Brother Carey on stage to usher in the final pair of songs. 2019's Invincible snaps the crowd back to reality after Chocolate Chip Trip's heady diversion. The song's halting momentum powers through the charged air as the band moves in lockstep in an intense sonic simmer. Increasing urgency marks Invincible's inevitable end as the show nears its final conclusion. Relaxing the night's smartphone moratorium, Maynard opens the floodgates as a sea of lit screens fills the arena. 1996's Stinkfist lurches to life as the crowd roars in approval. With a hefty pulse, Stinkfist enjoys an extended stay with moments of darkened dissonance rising from the fray before closing out the show with an overwhelming rush of heaviness. Delivering an unrelenting performance of emotional heft and precision heaviness, Los Angeles' prodigal sons, the progressive metal masters Tool, make a triumphant return to the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on November 8, 2019. Drawing on their storied discography, the band engaged the audience with a challenging set that traverses slow-burning expansion and gravitational immensity. overt heaviness from the band's formative years and the curated heft of the past couple decades collide to spectacular effect, showcasing the band's eternal strength and subtle refinement throughout the night's thoroughly engaging and enthralling performance.